The second part of the sales call that we really focus on is probing questions. Probing questions. Probing questions is how you come to understand what product you're selling that has an application to that person. Now, without rapport building and probing questions, you're not a salesperson. I say you're a huckster. Who knows what a huckster is? You ever been to the fair and seen those little places where they have folding chairs out? You sit there and you listen to them talk about pots and pans, or knives, or some other thing. And basically, another example is infomercials. Basically, they are vomiting forth onto you every feature and benefit of that product they can, because they have no idea what's important to you, right? They hope you find something in that presentation that appeals to you, that will cause you to make a buying decision. This, what the Alumni Center is going to be focused on, is the presentation part, right? But you're not hucksters. You're salespeople. So your use of the presentation material has to be guided by your probing questions. What are you most concerned about as a recent Purdue grad? I'm moving far away from home and I don't know anybody here. If I could show you how a membership in the Purdue Alumni Association would help you identify easily and quickly a group of people you have a lot in common with, would that be of interest to you? That's called the trial close, okay? But that's how you are positioning. Do they care about job training? Do they care about all these other things that their Alumni Association membership might provide them? Possibly not yet. But this opportunity to identify a group of people I can be friends with because they're also Purdue grads, or interested in Black women, or Hispanics, or 1,000 other groups, right? That may be a benefit that the Purdue Alumni Association gets. So they're going to be really focused on helping you get up to speed on presentations. Okay? But my point is, that's not where the sales call starts. That's not where the sales call starts. It starts with the approach, the rapport building, and then the probing questions. Okay? Now, the only measure of success this first 5 hours is time. I want you to do it, right? You don't have any quota. You don't have any minimum sales calls you have to make in that 5 hours. Time. Because you're starting out, I want you to have some experience. That's why our measure for this first period of time anyway is time. Some of you have never sold anything. So you just need exposure to the sales process, to sales calls, to being face-to-face with people and trying to convince them to do something. So our first measure is just time. Then we're going to move on to potentially other measures as this semester goes on. Are there any questions about any of that? Okay, one more thing and then I'm going to let them go. Have their time.
While Dr. Dale was doing that, I'm going to start to hand around some materials for you guys to reference. Feel free to reference these, look at them kind of in outside class hours. These are the kind of base materials that you'll need to know once we start to get into the sales training portion of the curriculum. You can send those back and I'll do this with others as well.
Acceleration. Because I did not have everybody enrolled, I'm going to be moving the due date on the first component to this Friday, okay? can change that. Here's what I want to show you. Where's Maddie Jones? Where's Maddie Jones? Yay, Maddie Jones. Yay, Maddie Jones. Look at that. 1,000,000 points already. 1,000,000 points already. Maddie Jones, good for you. Alex Waldron, where's Alex? Where's good for you, Alex? How about Tessa? Tessa. Is Tessa here? Good for you, Tessa. Jack. Right up there at the 1,000,000, 500,000 points. Get your acceleration going, okay? There's bonus points at stake. Those of you that have got points up here now, that did it in the time you were supposed to have done it, get 10 bonus points. Yeah. Okay? You have not got your acceleration going. Shame on you. Get it going. Get it on your laptop. You can be doing that all the time if you want to. Right? It's a good way to experiment with sales process. But I wanted to say good job, Maddie Jones. You're good. We are going to be, attention please, we are going to be videotaping the training, and I'll be putting it on our YouTube channel so that if you want to go back and look at it again, you'll be able to do that, okay? And your 415 coaches are also going to have access to it. Are there any questions? Again, this is our first experiment with this as a 315. Experiential learning. Remember that exponential learning curve I showed you the first day of class? I want you to leave this class knowing how to sell. I don't necessarily think you're all going to be great at it, but I want you to know it. That's part of your development. 10,000 hours to become really adept at a skill. Are there any questions? So the Purdue Alumni Association, we've had hours of meetings. We have done all kinds of preparation, trying to ensure you have a good experience. You're holding up a paper for me to do what with?
They ran out.
Like, what is that about? We want you to have a good experience, but mainly I want you to have an experience, right? If you do this right, you should have both a resume builder and a job offer. So do it right, okay? Okay, Jimmy Cox, Angelique are the leaders of the two teams. They have colleagues here, Crystal and Jillian, and they are going to have the next 45 minutes of your time, okay? If you have questions, problems, I sent acceleration emails today, come see me.
All right, welcome everybody. We appreciate the time to be in front of you today. I know Angelique was here last week, but just because you've had a lot going on, we're just going to introduce ourselves and what we do. As Dr. Dale said, my name is Jimmy Cox, and I am a 2009 graduate of Purdue, majored in political science and history. If anybody in here is taking those classes, thank you. It's a good class to take. But I've been with the Alumni Association for almost 5 years. My team and I run our student and young alumni program, so if you're a member of PACE, that group's under my team.
So I'm Angelique Zobitz. I believe most of you were in the class last week. I'm the Senior Director of Membership Marketing and Data Analytics. That's just a very fancy way of saying that I help to lead, define, and execute the strategy for how we acquire new members. And I connect the mission and the goal of our organization to the outputs that we do. So when we go out into whatever sales ecosystem it is or whatever channel that we choose to leverage, it's always with the intention of moving forward our goal, which is a sales-based goal, but keeping it connected to our mission, which is the academic, professional, and personal development and well-being of our constituents. I've been with the Alumni Association for a little over a year and a half, relocated here from Chicago, which is where I was born and raised. My husband is a Boilermaker and alum. He grew up here in this community, so we moved back here when our daughter got old enough to start school, because it's a good community. And I have a background, 15 years in marketing and advertising, usually previously in tech, but now in academia. So nice to meet all of you, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
I am Crystal Duncan. I actually work in the membership department, so all those memberships you guys are going to sell, my team processes them. So later on I'll talk about why I need you to fill out the forms, the way that I need you to fill them out, because it makes my job easier. I've been with the Purdue Alumni Association for almost 3 years now. I am not a Purdue grad at this point in time. You never know what the future carries. I have a background in human resources and business management. I've done all kinds of retail sales and business sales. So what you guys are about to do, I have done. So I'm here for any questions or anything you guys need help with.
And I'm Jillian Henry, and I'm the Vice President of Organizational Development and Strategic Leadership at the Alumni Association. Basically, that's a title for I work with our senior team to help work on our strategic plan, and then we provide training and development opportunities, not only for our staff, but also for our alumni. I've been there for almost 3 years, and my background is in nonprofit. So I think you'll see how that kind of unfolds a little bit, because the Alumni Association is a nonprofit. So if it's okay, I'm just going to go right into this.
Yeah. We'll
Okay.
start off the presentation by Jillian.
Okay, so we really wanted you to have an understanding about where we are with our strategic plan, because no matter what organization you're in, what company you're working for, if you can have your employees have a better understanding about how their work actually relates to the overall mission and vision, they're bought in. So we want you to buy in, obviously, to what we're doing with the Alumni Association, and the more you can see yourself in what we're doing, the better salesman you're going to be. So this is a snapshot of our strategic plan. This is also what we share with our board of directors when we're onboarding them, and it's also what we share with our staff members anytime we have new people come in. So we want them to have a good understanding of the framework of how we go forward with our business. So what we do. A mission is just what you do, and a vision is why you do it. Sometimes this is a little different between nonprofit and for-profit, but for us as a nonprofit, our mission is what we do. So we inspire the well-beings of the lives of our global communities for alumni, Purdue alumni, and then the 3 things that are going to come next. You're going to hear this repeated over and over and over. So take this away with you, personally, professionally, and intellectually. Anything that we do has to touch one of those 3 buckets, personally, professionally, intellectually. We connect alumni to Purdue and to each other. So that's always been kind of the hallmark about what alumni associations have done, with the exception of the personal, professional, intellectual. That's kind of like a new iteration of what we're doing with the Alumni Association. If you think back to like when your parents or your grandparents were in school, alumni associations were there for the sole purpose of helping them to connect to each other and then giving them information and updates about the university when they went off to their various points in the world. Well, with the social media that we have today and LinkedIn, the real purpose of an alumni association in terms of connecting isn't what it used to be. So we have to think, and all alumni associations across higher education had to think, how are we relevant? What purpose do we have if people are already connecting through LinkedIn and through Facebook and everything else? Why do we need to exist? So the higher level of that, getting to the why, so if a mission is your what, a vision is your why, it's because we believe that alumni are a force for action, growth, and well-being for Purdue, for their careers, their lives, and the world. So it's a very high, lofty vision, but we believe that's helpful for the university because if we have a good interaction with them through our engagement, then they're going to feel more affinity towards the school. If they feel more affinity towards the school, they're more apt to get involved through volunteering, through advocacy, through donations. So if we're doing our job well, that alumni is going to see Purdue as a piece of their life for the rest of their life and hopefully for future generations. So that's kind of a little bit about what we do and why we do it. Now going back to that personal, professional, intellectual, we're going to dive into that a little bit more because again, going back to the relevancy piece, why does someone need an alumni association after they leave? So this is kind of a visual model that our CEO put together, and he really sees our work as reciprocal with the university. So you can kind of see those two overlapping circles in the center. That alumni in Purdue, you're definitely joined, and how you join is us, the Alumni Association. So we're down there in the center, Purdue alumni, and the kind of the ways that we work with our alumni are on the side. So I'm not going to go through all of that, but if you think more visually than linearly, this is a good representation of how our work intersects with the university and the ways that we do that. Next slide. We have one objective at the Alumni Association. We've got many strategies, but we have one sole objective. And that objective, for all intents and purposes, we use the term objective as a numerical indicator of success. Other companies, other nonprofits, they might use objective a little bit differently, but for us, it's a numerical indicator. So our objective is to get to 90,000 members. So you would think, well, isn't every alumni a member of their alumni association? Well, no. So you are a alumni once you leave here, but we have a membership structure. Not all alumni associations do, but we do. That comes with a paid membership, obviously, that's why you're here. But with that is the expectation that we will grow our membership. So again, it goes back to the relevancy. Why is somebody going to pay for something unless they see the value in it? So what we've been doing, especially over the last 3 to 5 years really, is trying to put more relevancy into why somebody would want to get involved with us. So our objective is to get to 90. That is basically reaching 1 in 5 of our alumni. When we started with our CEO 3.5 years ago, we were reaching 1 in 7. So we've grown by 10,000 members really over the last 3 years, which is awesome, and we want to grow even more than that. But this is where we're at right now. We're at 73.8. We'd love to be at 90,000. That's where we're going. That's our key objective.
And I think that's very important, because what you just said is they're trying to say 20% conversion rate, right? 1 in 5. Just 20%. That's not like, we're already at 80%. We're going to get the last 20%. So that's why I see this as a very doable project.
Great, thank you. So these are our main goals, and we have 6 goal areas that we focus on. And I'm not going to go into the weeds with any of these, but I do think it's important for you to see, even though we've got one objective, that's just one indicator of what we're trying to do. The real heart of what we're doing is, again, the connecting piece, getting people engaged, getting them excited to, see what Purdue is doing, and getting them excited about how Purdue will be with them even after they leave here. Again, they want to be with them personally, professionally, and intellectually. So one of the big things that we're doing is we're doing measurable engagement. We didn't used to measure how many times we interacted with alumni, but that's a really important number because it shows our friends that are the fundraisers how many times someone has interacted with us, interacted with Purdue, because that makes them more of a warm lead, right? If they've had several interactions, they know that they can call and make an ask and have a better likelihood that they'll give a donation versus somebody who's had no interaction with the university whatsoever. So that measurable engagement score is really important for us. We also have been really focused on making sure that we have strategic brand marketing. The materials that you see in front of you, these are all brand new materials. These have been an iteration of doing a lot of attitudinal studies and looking at what's going to grab people in. And so one of those, the one that I like this easiest is this little pocket guide here. It talks about the 5 different brand values that we have. You can think of that as what are the 5 ways that people might be interested in the Alumni Association. They might be interested in the legacy because, oh, I'm a Purdue person, my family's a Purdue person, I will always bleed black and gold, blah, blah, blah. That's their legacy piece. It might be something completely different where it's growth and development. I went to Purdue, but I'm facing a career change right now, and I need some career help. I need some leadership development. So they might come into the Alumni Association not because it's a family legacy, but because they really see an opportunity to grow their professional skills so they can get the next job that they want. It might be that they're really looking for some discounts, and so we have a discount program, and that's a worldwide discount program. I had taken my daughter to Paris over spring break. We got on a river cruise, and we got a great discount because we're a Purdue Alumni Association member. That's the first time I'd ever used it, and I've been a member for a couple of years. But if you get in there and you see how many worldwide discounts there are, it can be really helpful. So those are just a few of the pieces that we put together for the strategic brand marketing. Business development is a new one that we've got here. We found that businesses are wanting to interact with Purdue in a different way than what individuals are wanting